Joining us now, a Republican presidential candidate running to challenge the establishment, two-term governor of Louisiana, Governor Bobby Jindal. He's been drawing sizable crowds in Iowa, and he is there. It sounds like you're pretty comfortable there in Iowa and being well received, Governor.
Thank you, Lou. Great to be back on the air with you. We absolutely are. We're in Dubuque tonight. We've had hundreds of people show up at our town halls. We're going across the state, listening to the folks, talking to them directly. They understand this is the most important election of our lifetimes. Lou, we've got to get off this path towards socialism. We've got to rescue the American dream from becoming the European nightmare. That's what this election is about.
Well, you have been criticizing Hillary Clinton, and she today released her economic plan, which I would say much of it you anticipated. Your thoughts on what she's got to say about the next 4 years if she were to be elected president?
Lou, what we see is just more government spending, more taxing, more regulations. If you want to see the future under Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, look at Greece. That is where we're headed. Give Bernie credit. At least he's willing to admit that he's a socialist. Her policies also lead to socialism. The reality is this. They're trying to feed a greedier and greedier government with more of our taxes and more power. The left, and that means Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, President Barack Obama, has now become the party of greed and the party of arrogance. There's never enough money to satisfy the thirst and the hunger for government. They'll never have enough of our tax dollars. They'll never have enough power. Here's the problem. Maybe the EU can bail out Greece. Nobody can bail out the United States. We've got to grow the private sector economy, not the government economy. We've got to cut taxes, cut regulations, not just talk about it, but do it.
And in terms of doing it, a lot of problems confronting the country, as you have analyzed and articulated. But what does the Republican Party stand for? You've got a significant field of candidates standing at 15. We think it's going to go to 17 and 16, certainly, with Governor Kasich to announce later, and the entry of Governor Scott Walker today. What do you guys stand for? We can hear all of the rhetoric about socialism, but what is this? Where is the working man and woman, the small businessman, our middle class when it comes to the Republican Party?
Well, that's a great question. Look, for too long, the Republican Party has rightfully not been the party of big government. I fear we're becoming the party of big business, and we mustn't do that. Look, the reality is I think it's time for us to embrace our own conservative principles. Jeb Bush says we've got to be willing to lose the primary in order to win the general election. I disagree with that. When he says that, what they are really saying, the establishment is saying, look, compromise our principles, try to get the left and the media to like us. That never works. If we do that again, we will lose. We will deserve to lose. What we need to stand for, repealing and replacing all of Obamacare. And I'm the only candidate with a plan to do that. Secondly, securing the border. No amnesty, no 1,000-page bill. Stop talking about it, just get it done and get rid of these sanctuary cities. Third, we need to make sure that we are shrinking the size of the federal government, not slowing the growth rate, growing the private sector economy. That means a flatter tax code, lower taxes. That means energy independence. That means less regulations. Fourth, we need to reinvest in our nation's defense. And what that means to me is that we need to stand with Israel. We need to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear power, not let China become the ascendant power. We can own this next century. But we've got to restore limited government. We've got to get back to the path that leads to opportunity and growth in the private sector. And, Lou, one of the things that the establishment does want to talk about, we need to fight for religious liberty as well, our First Amendment rights. There's a lot to be done. President Obama has done a lot of damage to our country, but we can win this election. But it's not enough just to send any Republican to D.C. A lot of the party leadership in D.C. will tell you can't do term limits. You can't repeal Obamacare. In D.C., it's the only place where losing is a good thing. Those guys almost don't even want to fight.
Well, the fight is certainly underway amongst the Republicans with this field of candidates. It seems to me a very good thing. I want to conclude, though, here with asking about Iran. We are told that a deal is within hours, possibly, with Iran. Your thoughts?
Look, Lou, I think this president could actually start a nuclear arms race if he is not careful. A bad deal is worse than no deal. Everything we've heard about this deal makes me think it is a very bad deal. A good deal would have anytime, anywhere inspections. Iran is not agreeing to that. A good deal would say they have to give up all of their centrifuges. They're not agreeing to that. All of their enriched uranium. No pathway to a plutonium bomb. They need to recognize Israel's right to exist, cut off ties to terrorist groups. They need to release all their American prisoners. Then and only then should we think about gradually lifting those sanctions. Instead, Iran is saying lift the sanctions now, no anytime, anywhere inspections, allow us to keep thousands of centrifuges. I think that is awful.
Would you permit Iran to be a nuclear power?
Absolutely not. And I've already said that this president's trying to have it both ways. If he negotiates a bad deal, I'm not going to honor that deal. He's not subjecting it to a two-thirds vote for ratification in the Senate. Therefore, I wouldn't honor a bad deal he negotiates. I'd make it very clear to Iran, every option's on the table. The United States will not allow them to become a nuclear power. That's an existential threat to Israel, our European allies, and the United States.
Governor, it is always good to talk with you. Good to have you here. Enjoy Iowa. I know you will.
Thank you, Lou.